The Andrix Dominion was one of the oldest empires in the stars. For thousands of years, their fleets had spread across systems, conquering smaller worlds and forcing many races into their rule. Their cities glittered with high towers, their skies filled with silver warships. To the Andrix, the universe belonged to them, yet behind their proud walls a shadow was growing. Their mines were running low on metal. Their food supplies were stretched thin. Their citizens were restless, whispering that the glory of the Dominion was fading. Inside the grand hall of stars, the ruling council gathered. 12 leaders sat around a great crystal table that glowed with maps of distant planets. Each leader spoke for a different region of the Dominion, but together they held the power to decide the fate of entire civilizations. The supreme monarch, a tall figure with a crown of silver plates, began the meeting. His voice carried across the hall. Our resources decline. Our borders weaken. We must choose our next conquest wisely. Our scouts bring news of a world that may restore our strength, a planet called Earth. At his words, the crystal table shifted, showing a blue and green world. Oceans sparkled, mountains rose high, and white clouds drifted across its surface. The first minister leaned forward. A beautiful world, but more than beauty lies there. Vast water, rich soil, endless metals in the ground, enough to feed our fleets for centuries. Another counselor nodded. Their people are divided. Many nations, many flags. They fight each other often. Such weakness will make conquest easy. Not all agreed. The voice of caution, an elder counselor, tapped the table with a sharp finger. Do not mistake division for weakness. These humans have survived countless wars. They rise again and again, stronger than before. History tells us they do not surrender easily. A silence filled the hall. The words carried weight. The Andrix had fought many species, but rarely one with the same record of resilience. The Minister of War laughed, breaking the silence. Resilient, yes, but still primitive. Their ships barely reach their own moon. Their weapons are simple fire and metal. Against our plasma cannons, their defenses are nothing. The monarch raised a hand. We will not act on words alone. Let the scouts speak. From the side of the hall, a scout captain stepped forward. He bowed and activated a projection. Images of Earth's cities filled the air, skyscrapers, highways, satellites orbiting above. Then came pictures of human armies, tanks, jets, submarines. To the Andrix, these looked outdated, almost toy-like. They have no unified command, the scout reported. Their leaders argue. Their armies compete. If we strike, they will not be able to resist together. A swift attack will bring them to their knees, the counselors whispered among themselves. To many, Earth looked like an open door waiting to be taken. The voice of caution spoke again. Their technology may be simple, but look closer. Their machines are clever. They make much from little, and their minds unpredictable. This species invents faster than most. If we press too hard, they may surprise us. But her warning was drowned out. Counselors rose one by one, declaring their support for invasion. Some wanted Earth's oceans, some wanted its farmlands, some wanted the metals hidden in its crust. Others simply wanted to prove the Dominion still had strength. At last, the monarch lifted his hand. The time has come to vote. Shall the Dominion invade Earth? One by one, the counselors placed their stones into the glowing bowl at the center of the table. 11 stones for invasion, only 1 stone against. The result was clear. The monarch stood tall, his crown catching the light. The council has spoken. Earth shall belong to the Dominion. Our fleets will gather, our soldiers will march. Soon the humans will bow before us. Cheers rose through the chamber. The decision was final. The Dominion believed victory was already theirs. But far away, on Earth itself, life went on as normal. In busy cities, people worked and laughed, unaware that eyes from the stars had judged them. In quiet observatories, scientists puzzled over strange signals echoing from deep space. A few began to suspect that something or someone was watching. One young astronomer in South America stared at her computer screen late at night. A repeating pulse blinked across the graph, too regular to be natural. She frowned, whispering to herself, "This is not a star. This is something else." Her warning would soon be ignored by many, but history was already turning. The Dominion's vote had set a chain of events in motion. What they believed would be their easiest conquest was about to become the greatest challenge they had ever faced. For the humans of Earth were not as fragile as they appeared, and when the storm came, they would rise. Weeks after the Council's vote, the skies of Earth began to change. At first, only a few scientists noticed. Strange shadows moved across space, too large and too steady to be meteors. Satellites recorded shapes like black arrows drifting among the stars. Then, one morning, the people of Earth woke to a sight they would never forget. Over major cities, New York, Beijing, London, Rio, Karachi, and many more, colossal ships appeared. They were not like anything built by human hands. They were dark and curved, with glowing lines that pulsed like veins of fire. Each ship was the size of a mountain, blocking out the sun as it hovered silently above the land. Fear spread like a wave. Cars stopped in the streets. Children pointed from playgrounds. News channels filled with shaky camera footage. For the first time in history, humanity faced visitors from the stars. At noon, a sound rolled across the world, low and deep, like thunder that came from everywhere at once. A message followed, translated into every major language. We are the Andrix Dominion. Your world is now under our rule. Surrender, and you will be spared. Resist, and you will fall. The words sent panic through homes and governments alike. Many leaders gathered their councils and generals asking the same questions. What can we do? How do we fight such power? The invaders expected quick submission. Their ships dropped smaller crafts into the skies. These crafts scanned power plants, military bases, and communication hubs. In some places, they cut off electricity, throwing cities into darkness. In others, they jammed radios, leaving armies blind. In the streets, some humans cried in despair. Others grew angry. Protests filled city squares. The fear of the unknown brought both silence and rage. But deep inside command rooms and research centers, a different reaction was forming. Leaders realized that for once Earth had no choice but to stand together. Old rivalries seemed small compared to the black ships hanging above. In Washington, the president addressed a crowded room. We may be divided in peace, but we must be united in danger. From this moment, every nation must share its strength. We are one world now. Across the ocean, a general in Asia echoed the same words to his officers. They see us as prey. They do not know the heart of humanity. We will not bow. Scientists also began working quickly. In Europe, engineers studied fragments from a downed alien drone, shot accidentally by a fighter jet. The material was strange, harder than steel, yet light as air. The scientists were shocked but also excited. If we can understand this, one whispered, we may find a way to fight back. The invaders noticed resistance almost immediately. In the deserts, human forces launched small attacks, destroying a few scouting drones. In the forests, guerrilla groups ambushed alien patrols, disappearing into the trees before they could be caught. The Andrix commanders laughed at first. To them, these were insects trying to bite giants. Their courage is wasted, one commander said. Their weapons are toys, yet something in these attacks troubled the Dominion. The humans fought with a strange spirit. They were not disciplined like soldiers of other conquered races. They were wild, unpredictable, and quick to adapt. In South America, a small village destroyed an alien walker by trapping it in mud, then throwing fire at its joints. In Eastern Europe, hackers broke through alien signals, sending false commands that confused enemy drones. Every day, new stories spread. Though the humans were weaker, they were learning. The Dominion Council received the first reports of human resistance with annoyance. Why are we delayed? Demanded the monarch. This should have ended already. A commander bowed low. The humans are difficult. They use tricks we did not expect. They do not fight as others fight. The monarch's eyes narrowed. Then crush them harder. Double the fleets. End this, and so more warships gathered in orbit. The skies above Earth grew crowded with steel giants. From space, the planet looked as if it were covered by a dark storm. But on the ground, humanity was changing. Fear began to turn into unity. Nations that once argued now shared resources. Soldiers trained side by side, learning each other's languages. Scientists opened their labs to foreigners, pooling knowledge in ways never seen before. In one secret bunker, a group of young engineers stared at the broken pieces of an alien drone. Air leader, a quiet man with glasses, whispered, "They think we are weak, but we will show them what humans can do with scraps." Above them, the invaders prepared for a final strike, sure that victory was close. But below, the fire of resistance was spreading. The Dominion thought Earth would bow quickly. Instead, they had awakened something far more dangerous: human determination. And as the days passed, the first sparks of true war began to glow. The first weeks of invasion were filled with fear, but soon fear turned into something else, determination. Across the world, humans began to study the fallen pieces of alien machines. Every broken drone, every crashed scout ship, every shard of metal became a puzzle for scientists and engineers. In a hidden lab beneath the mountains, a group of scientists worked day and night. On the table before them lay the wreckage of an alien drone, shot down in the desert by a group of soldiers. Its metal frame still hummed with strange energy. Dr. Alvarez, the lead scientist, ran her hand across the surface. This is not steel, not titanium. It's something lighter, stronger. If we can understand it, we can build armor our enemies cannot pierce. Beside her, a young engineer named Malik studied glowing wires. These are power conduits, he said. They bend energy like water. Maybe we can copy this for weapons. Piece by piece, humans began to understand. Where the aliens saw primitive beings, humans saw opportunities. Their greatest strength was not their weapons, but their creativity. Meanwhile, soldiers across the globe trained in new ways. They learned that alien machines were strong but predictable. Their walkers marched in straight lines. Their drones repeated the same patterns. Humans, on the other hand, thrived in chaos. They used mountains, rivers, forests, and even city streets as traps. One night, in the dense jungles of Southeast Asia, a small group of fighters lured alien scouts into a valley. Hidden charges exploded, bringing down rocks and trees. When the machines struggled to rise, the humans swarmed, destroying them with captured energy rifles. News of such victories spread quickly. Though small, they gave hope. For the first time, people whispered that the invaders were not unstoppable. The Dominion commanders grew frustrated. Reports of human resistance arrived daily. A supply ship destroyed in orbit, patrols ambushed in deserts, communication lines cut by unknown hackers. They are insects, one commander snarled. But insects in great number can sting. In the Grand Hall of Stars, the monarch listened in silence. They adapt faster than expected, he admitted. But it will not save them. Increase the pressure. Break their cities. Burn their will. Back on Earth, the humans prepared for something bold. Leaders of different nations met in secret. For once, there were no arguments about borders or politics. There was only survival. General Okoro, a tall man from Africa, stood before the group. We cannot wait for them to strike again. We must hit them first. His words were met with nods. Plans were drawn. The target. A massive alien supply ship orbiting above Earth. It carried food, weapons, and fuel for the Dominion fleets. Without it, the invaders would struggle. In underground hangars, human pilots prepared. Their aircraft were no match for alien warships, but scientists had fitted them with scavenged alien tech. Energy cells powered new weapons. Lightweight metals reinforced their armor. They were no longer ordinary jets. They were hybrids, born from both Earth and alien design. The night of the attack arrived. The pilots flew silently, using the cover of Earth's shadow. Above them, the alien supply ship glowed faintly, a giant against the stars. Remember, General Okoro's voice came over the radio. They think we cannot reach them. Prove them wrong. The first wave of missiles streaked upward, guided by hacked alien signals. They slipped past defenses before the enemy could react. Explosions rippled across the hull of the supply ship. Alarms rang through the Dominion fleet. Fighters scrambled, but the humans were already inside their defenses. Hybrid jets weaved and turned, moving unpredictably. Alien pilots, trained in strict patterns, could not keep up. A final strike hit the ship's main core. Light burst across the sky as the massive vessel split apart. Pieces of burning metal fell into the atmosphere, glowing like a second sunrise. On Earth, people watched from rooftops and fields. For a moment, silence held the world. Then cheers erupted. The humans had done the impossible. They had destroyed a Dominion supply ship. Across the Dominion, shock spread. Never before had such a primitive race struck such a blow. Whispers of doubt filled alien colonies. If the humans could fight back, maybe the Dominion was not as strong as it claimed. In the Grand Hall of Stars, the monarch's face darkened. This was to be a swift conquest. Instead, it becomes a war. The counselors looked uneasy. One finally spoke. Perhaps we underestimated them. But the monarch slammed his fist on the table. No, we will crush them. We will remind the galaxy of our power. Back on Earth, Dr. Alvarez and her team watched the news of the victory. She turned to her exhausted engineers and smiled faintly. We did it. But this is only the beginning. They will come harder now. Malik, wiping grease from his hands, replied softly, "Then we will fight harder." Humanity had shown its first true counterstrike. The invaders had learned an important lesson. Earth would not bow. The war was far from over, but a spark had been lit. And that spark was spreading into a flame. The skies above Earth were no longer filled with silence, but with chaos. Alien warships patrolled relentlessly, their engines glowing red like molten stars. Yet, for every strike they launched, humans found a way to fight back. In the frozen plains of Siberia, human soldiers dug deep trenches and laid traps, waiting for the next wave of alien walkers. Using the terrain to their advantage, they forced the machines into narrow passes where movement was limited. Mines hidden under the ice disabled the first group while snipers picked off operators. In the Pacific Ocean, stealth submarines attacked alien supply vessels. They used modified alien energy weapons that humans had scavenged and re-engineered. Though small, these attacks disrupted the Dominion's logistics. Every destroyed ship slowed their advance and fed human confidence. In Europe, scientists discovered a new way to communicate. Using hijacked alien signals, they created false commands that spread confusion in the enemy fleet. Drones turned against each other, and patrols ran into one another, unsure who was friend or foe. Humanity was not just defending, it was now dictating the battle. The Dominion Council grew restless. Reports from the front lines painted a picture they could not ignore. Small human forces were striking deep into alien positions. Entire fleets that had once ruled the skies were now crippled or destroyed. A counselor spoke nervously. Their unpredictability. It cannot be contained. Every plan fails. Every attack surprises us. The monarch slammed his hand on the table. Then double the fleets. Crush their cities. Make them understand that resistance is meaningless. But it was too late. Across the Dominion, whispers began to rise. In colonies far from the capital, other alien races watched the humans with interest. Many of them had been oppressed for centuries. They saw what the humans had done, defeating warships, destroying supply lines, resisting the Great Dominion. Quiet rebellion began to stir. On Earth, humans did not wait for rebellion, they encouraged it. Messages broadcast into space revealed the truth about the Dominion. They were not invincible. Other races hearing these messages began to rise, striking at their overlords. In Africa, a combined human fleet attacked an orbital station. Pilots flew with unmatched precision, dodging alien fire while delivering powerful strikes. For the Dominion, it was another shock. The humans did not fight like soldiers trained in discipline. They fought like artists, unpredictable and inspired. Back on the surface, engineers developed new weapons from scavenged alien parts. Mobile energy cannons, powered armor, and hybrid drones gave humans the upper hand in small battles. Each victory taught them more about the Dominion's weaknesses. In the Grand Hall of Stars, the Council was divided. Some members demanded retreat, afraid that Earth's defiance would inspire rebellion across the Dominion. Others insisted on total annihilation, determined to punish humanity for their audacity. The monarch's face was hard. They may surprise us, but they are still one planet. They cannot defeat an empire, send everything, leave nothing. Meanwhile, humans launched a bold strike, landing forces on the outskirts of a Dominion city on the moon. They destroyed communication hubs and supply depots, leaving the invaders disoriented. Even alien propaganda began to falter, as reports of human victories spread through Dominion systems. The cracks in the empire grew larger. Ships turned back, colonies revolted, and trust in the Council's decisions collapsed. What had been a unified mighty force now wavered. On Earth, leaders gathered once more. They think they control the galaxy, General Okoro said, but they are falling apart. We must strike again and strike harder. The humans were learning not only to survive, they were learning to win. Every battle, every attack, every clever trick reinforced a simple truth. The Dominion had underestimated humanity, and in the stars, the invaders began to realize that the very species they had dismissed as weak might be the ones to bring down their empire. For Earth was no longer merely defending itself. It was the spark lighting a galaxy-wide fire, and the Dominion's walls were starting to crumble. The sky above Earth burned with light and fire. Alien warships filled the heavens, massive and unyielding. For the Dominion, this was meant to be the final battle, a strike to crush humanity and erase its defiance. But the humans were ready. For months they had studied alien tactics, scavenged technology, and built new weapons. They were no longer primitive, they were clever, united and relentless. On the ground, armies moved in perfect coordination. Hybrid drones, armored vehicles, and soldiers armed with energy rifles pushed the aliens back from city to city. Each human strike was unpredictable, a calculated chaos the aliens could not anticipate. In orbit, the battle raged. Human pilots launched waves of hybrid spacecraft, dodging plasma blasts and weaving through alien formations. The Dominion's fleet, once confident, now faltered. Supply lines were destroyed, reinforcements delayed, and internal sabotage slowed their advance. Deep inside the Dominion, the Council watched in disbelief. How is one planet able to resist everything? A counselor cried. They should be crushed already. The monarch's face was dark. They fight with a spirit we cannot break. But this is not over. Send the fleets, destroy them entirely. Yet even as he spoke, rebellion erupted among the colonies. Alien races that had suffered under the Dominion rose up, attacking warships and supply stations. The empire that had seemed unshakable began to crumble from within. On Earth, humans knew the moment of opportunity had arrived. General Okoro stood before the combined forces, his voice firm. The Dominion believes it is all-powerful. They are wrong. Today we show them the strength of Earth. Fight not just for survival, but for the freedom of every world they have oppressed. A roar rose from soldiers, pilots, and engineers alike. Every person on Earth was united for the first time, bound by courage and determination. The attack began. Human forces moved swiftly, striking at alien command centers, orbital stations, and warships. Hybrid weapons tore through enemy shields. Drones hacked into the Dominion's communication networks, sending false orders and creating chaos. In the heart of the battle, humans targeted the Dominion's flagship, a massive vessel that symbolized the Empire's power. Missiles struck its hull, energy beams scorched its decks, and fighter pilots weaved in and out, striking weak points discovered through careful study. On the planet below, alien forces began to retreat. Their walkers, once imposing, fell into traps. Supply lines collapsed. Even morale faltered as soldiers realized that humans did not fear them. They fought with courage, creativity, and unity, the things the Dominion could not destroy. In the Grand Hall of Stars, the Council watched as news arrived from every corner of the Empire. Colonies were rising in revolt. Fleets were destroyed. Supply chains cut. Their entire kingdom trembled under the weight of rebellion and human attacks. The monarch's eyes widened in horror. This cannot be. They are just one world. A counselor spoke quietly, trembling. They are not just one world. They are a force we never understood. We have lost control. By the end of the day, the Dominion's flagship had fallen. Its destruction sent shockwaves across the Empire. Other warships began to retreat. Colonies declared independence, and whispers of revolt became open rebellion. The empire that had once ruled countless worlds was collapsing. On Earth, people celebrated cautiously. Cities were scarred and lives were lost, but the planet had survived. Humanity had not only defended itself, they had defeated the greatest empire in the galaxy. In the ruins of the Grand Hall of Stars, the surviving counselors tried to restore order. But it was too late. Neighboring alien nations, inspired by humanity's victory, rose up. The Dominion was no longer feared. Its people scattered, and the empire itself ceased to exist. Humans looked to the stars with pride and caution. They had survived against impossible odds. They had shown the galaxy that intelligence, courage, and unity could overcome even the greatest power. Dr. Alvarez, now looking up at the night sky, spoke softly to her team. We have won, but this is only the beginning. The universe is larger than we imagined, and there will be more challenges. But we are ready. General Okoro, watching fleets return from the final battle, nodded. Earth has proven that one planet can change the galaxy, and we will never forget this lesson. The Dominion was gone, but humanity's story was just beginning. For the first time, Earth stood not as a prey to the stars, but as a beacon of strength, hope, and courage. The humans had risen, and the galaxy would never underestimate them again.